at that particular time in the commission meeting, you was talking about the ambulance authority.
Yes.
And when the people, when something goes into the paper, you know, these people out here in the county, they make up their own mind, you know, as to what the heck's this all about? No agency or no government entity in this county, we need to be working together with everybody. I mean, you know, we're Doddridge County. It's at the end of the day, we're Doddridge County. And we just need to you know, forget about a lot of the things in the past and make corrections. If you could show me one backroom deal that happened on this ambulance authority board since I've been on, I'll quit tomorrow. Show me one thing that has happened that we've done wrong that hasn't come out into the public. Done it publicly. Everything has been publicly. And, you know.
And Mr. Robinson has explained that he didn't mean that way, and I accept that and I'm appreciative.
Well, when I say that
way, but that's,
I meant it for every department in the county. Right. So in that respect, you're included in that.
I'm not saying that you meant that, and I accept your apology. I mean, you didn't. I'm sure you didn't have to apologize.
And I didn't. I don't think.
I think that the person who writes this article in this record, which I hate to buy, but I did buy this one, slants it to that effect, to make it look bad with the DCAA, and that is their purpose in doing so.
I can't answer for that. The only thing I can answer for is what I said, and you know, I said that, and
well, I think we ought to move forward.
Well, I think you're probably right.
I think if you know, we could sit here all night long and hound and hassle on things that we've done in the past, but it's not going to solve the thing. What we've done in the past is done. You're a member of the board now. If you so desire, that you know, we serve at the will and the pleasure. We're like a good soldier. We serve at the will and pleasure of the President of the United States. So, you know, we got sense enough to know that we serve at the will and the pleasure of the county commission. With that said, you know, we expect to work with the county commission. We expect the county commission to work with us. I mean, we don't know everything, and I'm sure you guys don't know everything coming into this county commission job. So we have to work together to solve all these problems.
I do have a question, though, another question, because after the commission meeting, I went back to talk to Shelley Humphreys at Ori Ash's office about this upcoming training. Did you all get notice about the budget meeting and the fraud? Okay. And Shelley...
Talking about the 26th, I believe it is?
Yeah,
or the 28th.
There's several dates, right. And Shelley said to me on the telephone, she saw no reason why anyone from the ambulance authority should attend that meeting. I mean, you know, and I mean, I was prepared to do so. I made the phone call to find out if it would be more beneficial for me to attend the municipal meeting, which would be at the 911 center, or the county meeting, which would be in Clarksburg. And that's when she said, well, I don't know any earthly reason why you would want to attend either one of them. And then she sent me the PowerPoint presentation on the fraud, which I printed off and I have. So my question then to you would be, do you think that we should have a presence at that county budget training seminar? So,
as I understand it, at this point, it is they're to work with those responsible for putting the county budget together. That's my understanding. So in that respect, I probably would agree with her, but you know, I don't know that there's any reason why you shouldn't, but that's
well, because I know that
that's between you and them.
You talked about how the park board has put together their budget when they submitted it to the county commission. Well, and our budget has never been prepared with payroll in mind because the employees are employees of the commission. And you remarked that you didn't think it should be that way, or something to that effect. You said that we needed to be more involved in that process. And I didn't know, I mean, should I? Can you maybe explain to me what you do with the park board and their payroll?
The park board employees are county employees that are paid by the county just like other employees. And the park board would submit a budget request during February or March, and then once it was approved, it would come back to the park.
So they would specifically identify their employees, what they're to be paid, what the corresponding...
I don't know that that was, because that's set by the, the park board doesn't set the salaries. The county commission sets the salaries.
Well, then I'm still questioning what kind of involvement are you wanting from the ambulance authority with that payroll budget? We are going to have to, what I want you all to do, and when I say you all, and this is my personal request, I want you all to see what your options are for reducing the payroll cost to the county. And as I said in the county commission meeting, right now it's approximately 20% of the budget, and my opinion is that needs to be reduced. Now, you all, my request is that you all come up with a plan or suggestions on ways that you can reduce the amount of money that you are that is being paid on your behalf by the county. So that's what I was referring to.
Do you have any numbers in mind?
I don't have any numbers in mind. What I have in mind is that you come up with possible savings. Now, how you go about that, is up to you. But that's what I'm looking for.
And with it, Mr. Robinson, when they was set up, to my understanding, because I wasn't here in the initial setup, we was set up on running 2 crews, an ALS and a BLS, Advanced Life Support, Basic Life Support. Is it still the will? I guess we'd have to ask this in a commission meeting, but one of the questions I might ask and ponder is, do you still want to maintain those 2 units 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Because that is part of the expenditure that we would be looking at.
I understand that. I mean, obviously there are a lot of medical and ambulance type emergency call laws or protocol that I'm not, it's not within my current realm of knowledge. What I am asking is for you all to look at your operation and any time that you're in a situation where you need to cut a budget, you need to be creative and look and see what you can cut. Just because you say, okay, here's a possibility, we could do this. Give the county commission options rather than just say, here's what it is and this is what it's going to cost you.
As our advisor, would you be willing to sit down with me and look at what we have and look at our budgets and our constraints and our schedules and help me understand, because I'm not an accountant by no means, but I do have EMS laws and I can show you the EMS laws and we can go over that. I can help you learn and you can help me learn about budgets, and see if there's a way that we can make a way of looking back and maybe give the commission, 2 or 3 options that we could do to save the county money, but still provide a high level of care.
I will be more than happy to sit down with you. It may be difficult because of my job constraints.
I'll bend to your schedule. You tell me whenever, and that's when we'll get together.
Well,
He's an accountant, and this is
Tax
tax
return.
Oh,
season.
yes, I understand that.
and I'd like to be able to survive on the commissioner's salary, but I've got to work.
I understand.
So anyway,
Well, there's no reason why this board right here can't sit down and come up with what you're asking.
yeah, with options.
Obviously.
And that's what I'm looking for. Is
I think there's one thing that's getting a little bit lost here. There's a lot of agencies that you can sit down and figure out a budget and say, well, we can cut here or we can cut here. But when you're dealing with people's lives, you're dealing with police, fire, and ambulances, you're pretty well limited as to where you can cut, unless you're going to sacrifice the treatment and the health care of the citizens of the county. So,
well, see, that's where what I'm saying is you tell us what the options are, and you also then would say, but if you choose this option, here's what's going to the negative.
yeah, well, as a good negative here, if, as he said, we are to have an ALS unit and a BLS unit on unit 24/7, 365 days out of the year. When you call here, when that 911 call center comes in, we will be in that ambulance and out of here within 2 minutes. We don't have to get dressed. We don't have to go feed the dog. We don't have to do nothing except that. And that's what we have to. If you tell us, no, I want an ALS unit or I want a BLS unit, I want you to cut one, you have to realize, not you personally, but the county commission has to realize, that throws them in the spotlight as far as the care that the public is getting and possible repercussions coming back through the criminal system.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay. Population-wise in Doddridge County, what is our population?
It's about 8,000. Right close to 8,000.
Okay, with all the oil and gas workers in here, what is it now?
That I could use.
Well, see, we have to take that into consideration too. And we are gonna have an accident one of these days. I mean, we've already had trucks off the road and all, it's just God's only been with us that we haven't had one. We're gonna need everything we can get. And you have to take all these extra people into consideration.
I don't think Mr. Roberts is asking us that specific to cut.
I didn't say
Here,
what. He wanted a scenario, so I gave him one.
Different ideas on what could be cut.
Well, we can
That
do
was a
that.
tough one to cut, I can tell you that right now.
Well, I understand
We
that.
I asked Randy the other day, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I asked him to run a schedule in the month of December. When the calls comes in, who all went out, how many went out, well, he did it for the full year. That's maybe where we should cut, somewhere in that area right there, for a run. Try to cut a crew off, send this crew home, just let this crew here. Mr. Roberts, there's no way. Somebody in the county will be without medical service if that would happen. There is a way, yeah, just do it. But if it happens, someone in the county is going to be, it's like you going in to sit down to your dinner. 9 times out of 10, the telephone will ring. Someone will call, wants a taxi work guy. When one call comes in for an ALS or a BLS, 10 minutes later, there'll be another call come in. You have to send them on the other end of the county. And, it's just a fact of life, there's no way around that.
Well,
But there is other ways where we can look at other things, and we will look at other things.
that's what I'm requesting.
And the board does that. I fight with them constantly because they want to cut this and cut that. You know, I want this and I want that, and they're constantly telling me, no, we can't do that. And just like we're trying to give the county back money, you know, I'm like, well, we need to have this bill pay for that. And they said, no, we got to give this back because we got to be responsible. And we fight about that a lot, but they are good at that. And I think, you know, we will try to come up with something that might please the commission or try to help. And looking forward to working with you on that also. So.
Has the county got a financial problem?
Nope.
Pardon?
Nope,
Okay.
It has in the past, but
has in the past, but at this point, no.
Is there any other public comments?
Company secretary says.
well, let me, and I won't belabor this very much, but it's just an example of what I was talking about before. The board was, there was a request made for information on your transports. And the response was that a person would have to pay $1,000. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. You know, if you were really wanting to be open, public, above board, you would have provided that and said,
The billing agency was going to charge us
Billing agency
$1,000.
is one that did.
I understand.
That's not, and it's because the requested information wasn't maintained at the time. And as we told the requester, we could begin putting that information in there. If you wanted to ask for it soon, then yeah, it'd be one click and it wouldn't cost anything. But it's frustrating to me that we get accused of back deals because something like that happens. That's the billing agency. You're asking the billing agency to devote 20 hours to something like that, and then you want to say that they don't get to charge for it. Of course they do.
If you wanted
They're gonna provide
if you
service.
wanted to be cooperative, you would have provided
And
that.
then we're not responsible to the taxpayers because we spent $1,000 on some information.
It was a request.
It's a yin and a
It
yang.
was
No
a
matter what we do, it's
request.
going to be wrong.
It was a request by a county commissioner.
It was.
Yes.
And the county commission was presented with what the options were.
Did that county commissioner elect not to receive that at that time then?
And then requested different information and was provided that. Correct, Ralph? Sorry, Mr. Sandor. So
The information that was requested was not provided on a timely basis. And like I said,
Do you understand why it wasn't?
I understand your explanation, but
Well, that's not an explanation, that's the reason.
That's a fact.
well, that's the
We could've-
explanation. Yes, it's fact.
If Mr. Sandor would have said, hey, I don't care what it costs, I want that information, then we would have had to pay that billing company to provide him with that information. But he elected not to waste the county money and go for something else. See?
Okay.
Could I ask one more question? And this would,
I can't hear you.
I said, could I ask the question, which would circumvent and cause this problem with the billing company to completely go away? Do you all not keep a daily log inside the station to where you say transport or emergency run or, and who goes?
We have EMS charts now, and before we didn't have EMS charts, and that was part of the problem. We couldn't go back because it was under the old state website. That website has since been demolished, and there was problems with it. But since then, we have upgraded to EMS charts, and every time they get a run, 911 center assigns a number to that. They come back, put it in the computer, and at any time I can go back and put a date in, and it'll kick up. That's what all these logs are, is of dates and times, and so it's a call log that they get no control over. I know their call numbers. Every Monday I get a list of these are all the call numbers that we gave.
Even the
and Martha
transports.
goes back through it. Yeah, even transports. And Martha goes back through and says, okay, run sheet's done, run sheet's done. They didn't do the run sheet. So we call them, they got to get the run sheet turned in. So we got a daily account just from the 911 center log books, the numbers they send us, and we correspond with that. So, and then I can go back and pull and tell you who was on the truck and what time of day it was and all that. So that's how we do it now.
There are no handwritten logs. They're all computerized.
But it's being done now, where
Yes.
it wasn't being done
Right.
before.
Right, because we had the old chart system or premise, yeah, that the state had, and it just, oh, it's horrible.
As treasurer, I constantly am looking at cost factors.
They have this. I gave
I
that
can
to
have
them.
this, but this is given to you at the county commission meeting. I came in and I asked him to put all this information together on transport. It's all broken down. I look at these numbers constantly. I'm like, I'm a self-employed businessman. I spend 20, 30, 40 hours a month on the ambulance. And there's nothing for it. I give them back to my county. And I am constantly monitoring the fact of what it costs to do this. Especially these transports, because that was so much in question by some people. So I'm constantly watching what we were spending, and what we were taking in.
Can I say, including this board, it was questioned by this board as well.
Right.
And we went through the numbers in an open meeting because we questioned whether or not the transports were profitable.
And there was nobody from the public here to listen.
We took into the account that the federal government allowed you, I think it's right now, well, it used to be 75 cents a mile for over-the-road transports and what have you. And that's the care of your vehicle. Take so much a mile, take into consideration the man's salary, just being paid for that transport. If you're making only $50, then we're probably not gonna make that transport up at one time. We're having to make money in that transport business to make money. We're not gonna make the run if we don't make the money on it. Everything is taken into consideration. When that truck pulls out of here, or out of someone's home, with somebody in it, regardless of how many people's in that, regardless of the fuel cost, the oil, and everything goes into deducted from or whatever we make on that. Any other comments? Public comments? If not, we'll move on to old unfinished business. Do we have it?